Okay, it's 6:30. We're going to go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. Tonight we have two meetings. We're going to start with our annual meeting of the School District of Milton. As we usually do, we're going to start with the vision. We believe in opportunities, achievement, and community for all. Our mission is the School District of Milton, in partnership with the community, prepares our students for achievement and lifetime readiness by providing opportunities for all. Board norms tonight, I believe we are on number 3 of 4. If I could get one of my board mates to read bullet point 3.
To represent the responsibilities of serving as a school board member and to represent the students, staff, and community at the highest level, the Board of Education has adopted the following norms to guide their work. We will enter discussions with an open mind, listen, and consider other perspectives prior to making decisions. Agenda topic questions will be asked before and during meetings to ensure a shared understanding.
Thank you, Rick. Item 1B, if you're able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before I move on to 1C, I just want to set a reminder for procedures for tonight's annual meeting for those that are here and watching online. This is a meeting for the electorates. So therefore, as long as you are a resident of the school district, within the boundaries of the school district of Milton, you can cast votes, make motions, and partake in discussions on tonight's agenda items. Are there any questions to that procedure for tonight? Okay, hearing none, let's move to 1C, electing a meeting chairperson. I will call for nominations 3 times. The chairperson will then take over for the rest of the meeting. So first call, are there any nominations for meeting chairperson?
I'll nominate John Doomer to be the meeting chair.
I will accept. Thank you, Rick. Second call for nominations for meeting chair. Third and final call for nominations for meeting chairperson.
I'll make a motion to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for John Doomer to be the annual meeting chair.
I would second.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Joe. We have a first and a second to cast unanimous ballot for John Doomer for chairperson for tonight's meeting. Any questions or concerns for that? All right, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I will be the chairperson. 1D, approval of the agenda for tonight.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion from Tracy, a second from Rick to approve tonight's agenda. Are there any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. 2A, I'm proud to announce Superintendent Bill Horn to present the district overview tonight.
All right, thank you, John, and good evening, everyone. So the overview tonight, we're going to take a review of the past year in the school district of Milton and give an overview of the district itself. Just a reminder for all listening tonight that the school district of Milton has just under 20,000 residents. That's actually up a few hundred from last year, with 7,555 households. That's actually up 400 households this last year. And you know, we are a large district for a southern Wisconsin district, 120 square miles. As noted on the screen too, our equalized tax base actually rose $200 million this past year. Taking a look back at last year's. And again, we have the district lies within the city of Milton, parts of the city of Janesville, and 7 other municipalities, and we still hover right around 3,400 students. And, you know, well, the mission, as mentioned, is about opportunity, achievement, and community for all. Looking back at this past year, we are an essential part of the community. And it's because of the outstanding staff and our parents and our community and the work that's done here. And for our leadership and the board, looking back at this past year and when I have talked with a number of residents taking this new role, a lot of people have come to me to tell me what they think about the district. In some cases, tell me what we should be doing in this district. But the overwhelming support, as I shared at the convocation this last week, and support of saying, please make sure that we continue to make Milton special to do the things that we've continued to do. And that is because of the talented and dedicated educators who work in our school district. We are very proud of the work that they do. We have outstanding academic achievement, as we shared at the last data meeting for the board, but for our community tonight too, as we continue to remain well above state average in achievement for in math and ELA up through grades 8, and we have a graduation rate that actually rose again to over near 99% and a 4-year graduation rate, and the AP test scores this last year, and that metric having over 90% pass rate in AP exams really points to some outstanding students, outstanding teachers across the board, and family support. Student-focused learning and co-curricular opportunities continue to expand. This past year, board approved expanding more opportunities into our middle school, for example, with cross-country and swim, and new opportunities like growth in robotics and HOSA at the high school. And across the board, at all levels, we continue to have create more opportunities for the students in this district. We have strong relationships across culture and culture across the entire district. This past year, we saw a move towards character strong in the upper grade levels at a universal curriculum, looking at social and emotional learning, which really comes down to how to have strong relationships and creating a culture of inclusion across the district. This past, we've used Qualtrics the last few years. And there's 2 metrics there that go to the whether or not looking at the support that we have for the district. One is families who are proud to be a Red Hawk. 89% of our families polled said that they're proud to be a Red Hawk, or they have strong support and they're an endorser of our school district, with 5% disagreeing. Those are outstanding numbers by any metric. And with our staff as well, and 88% agree that they're proud to work for the school district of Milton, or that they would support or they would recommend our school district, are also very strong numbers indicating of where we are at. And also financial stewards, as Ross will share later on, as the mill rate continues to has dropped 25% in the past 5 years, and because of decisions made by past leadership and this board, we continue to be in well financial standing. There's a lot of really positive things about Milton right now. As I take a look also this past year, the board, along with district leadership, took time to really review our strategic plan. The 5 pillars in the strategic plan remain the same, with teaching and learning, relationships, climate and culture, maintaining a high quality staff. How can we continue to engage the community, and looking at down the road at operations and facilities. The board, along with administration, created goals for each of those and plans that are in place, and sound plans in place to make progress towards each of those goals. Now, the rest of the overview, I am thankful for the pictures that Carrie Clubba provided. Really what we are about is creating these opportunities and creating options for our students. And it really is about what our staff, our leadership, our board, what we are doing to create opportunities for the children of our district. Looking across the board there, the top left picture is a career day at the high school. There's an adulting fair. You have students learning how to tie ties. We had the 50th anniversary of outdoor ed, a long honor tradition in the school district at Northside. 50 years of taking students up to the McKenzie Center and creating those memories for students. A new tradition formed, a new option. Ms. Zerwinski and leadership at the middle school made it happen to have a trip to Washington, D.C. That trip technically returned to the school district. Down the lower left there, as Milton East, these are some winners. Battle of the Books. Those kids were going to make sure they were not going to drop that trophy right there. And then at the middle school, Nick Stone visit, author that students have been reading. There was a lot of excitement generated around author Stone's visit to the middle school. The next one, you see students at East. We had the pond guy visit. I'm not sure who the pond guy was, but I'm going to have to learn about him. But you see the looks on those faces as they are it's looking at science and natural science there. The middle picture there is our north side. We're the winner of the Do Good Wisconsin Award for their cereal drive. If you guys saw the food drive that they have, they won the cereal drive and the best video as you see the work that they did to support the community. I mentioned robotics before, but Red Hawk Robotics grew leaps and bounds this past year. I'll talk about some of their accomplishments later, but we hosted the first VEX tournament here in this part of the state, actually, and we're really, really pleased with the results of that and drew a lot of people in. A lot of folks actually that I talked to there that night or that day were actually just checking out Milton School District. They were students. They were trying to decide which students at which high school and middle school they're going to send their students to. That was a draw. The high school play, Island of Dr. Monroe, a rendition of that play written by our own communities, Jim Like. That was in the spring. In the Milton High School, we had close to 40 students that attended a trip to Spain. Continuing on, Consolidated, more along the exploration there. You see the snake and the reptiles there. We had the Red Hawk media team was invited, as you remember, they were the board members. They were invited to put on the production for the WASB annual meeting in the state of Wisconsin. So they drew high reviews from them. We had a lot of praise for the work that media team did. We welcomed a new school resource officer this year. Okay. Officer Fish joined the district in conjunction with the city of Milton. A long-standing, very, very strong relationship with the city of Milton continued. That's Officer Fish. The cheerleaders got him to run the flag in front of the student body at a football game. We have our students there at Milton West having fun in the library. The Milton Middle School won the Internet Award by having the most viewed post in the school district. Kerry Club, I'm going to take this time too just to acknowledge the amount of social media traffic continues to grow. But that was how many days a week should you read to your children? It was the 6, 7. That's the gift that keeps on giving right there. The Veterans Day performance or the ceremony at Harmony, I think probably one of the coolest fundraisers at Northside. The staff as students or as staff raised money for Friends of Northside and other organizations by getting the temporary tattoos. There was a lot of students, staff that participated there. Then obviously the burning of the M, long time tradition at the high school homecoming. Graduation rate, I mentioned the graduation rate dipped above 98% and went above 98% this last year. The middle school production of the Adams Family, an outstanding production. We have some very talented students and very dedicated directors that have joined the last couple of years. The performance was outstanding. The Veterans Day, a longstanding program at Milton West. An event that we were extremely proud of, that was Milton Meals Matter. Now, over 10,000 items were collected that afternoon. Those that were there that day remember that. We had a large number of people in the district and the community who responded. We celebrated Devin Calvert, Teacher of the Year, Art Teacher, and Harmony and Consolidated. And then our students in the spring and the Unity team. The track meet was celebrated by large numbers of students from Milton Middle School and the high school. And finally, I mentioned the athletics before too, a very successful year for the athletics and activities across the school district. Across the top there, just quickly, we have the girls golf team that made it to state. We have the girls wrestling team that made it to state and won their second consecutive state championship as a team. And then we had our individuals, boys who also made it to state. We had 3 state champions, 1 boy and 2 girls. Across the middle row there, we have 2 teams, the robotics I mentioned before, middle school and high school team. They made it to their state competition. Our track athletes, our baseball team, our FBLA that made it to state, and some individuals across the bottom, 2 cross-country runners. We had 1 swimmer, members of our HOSA team, and FBLA team made it to nationals. And then Cade at the end there who made it to state as an individual and also has been in the national tournaments this summer. Across the board, the district. There's a lot to celebrate, and this is because the opportunities that this community has afforded our students. Some exciting opportunities we're looking forward to into this next year that came through across this room here, and that is the healthcare sciences. That room is now opened up and will be ready for classes this next year. That is a project that has been worked on in conjunction between the high school teachers, our building and grounds, and the board and the business departments at the district, working really hard to make sure that happened. And there's some really neat things going to happen there. And then this next week, we are looking to be breaking ground in the building and grounds building, which they'll be starting site work at some point this week or early next week. So lots of exciting things happening in the district, but it has been a good year, and we're looking forward to this next school year moving forward. Are there any questions at all from the electorate or the board regarding this past year? That was 2025, 2026.
Thank you for that overview. Next up, we have 2B, Ross McPherson, Director of Business Services with the District Financial Report.
All right, good evening, everyone. For the rest of the meeting tonight, we have three main topics, the first of which is the financial report for the initial findings and year-end performance of the 25-26 budget. Then we'll go into the budget presentation as it stands for the 26-27 school year. And then the last item of business is our budget hearing, where we have the required motions for the annual meeting that will be prompted on screen for a discussion and action. I want to begin by identifying our fund balances for the year as they stand today, based on 25-26 and as of June 30 of 2026. In the general fund, our fund balance is projected at $12.37 million. This puts us just below our 25% threshold and within the 20 to 25% range defined in our strategic plan. This continues to allow School District of Milton to avoid the need to short-term borrow for cash flow purposes during the year. The special funds or special project funds balance shown here represents accounts for donations and student activity accounts only. That definition gets lumped in with special education, which cannot carry a fund balance. The debt service fund balance represents funds committed for fall and future debt payments before we set the levy and collect those funds in January. The capital projects fund of about $7 million identifies funds committed for future capital maintenance on our long-term capital maintenance plan that we discuss every January, February. The food service fund balance here represents funding committed to school nutrition activities and programming, and the balance here shows the accumulation over time from some one-time funds and future payment of capital projects in there, so new ovens, new renovations to those areas. And finally, the community service fund at $182,000 represents funding committed for operations and maintenance of our community park spaces. Each year, we're required to show and demonstrate what is happening with our Employee Benefit Trust Fund, also known as Fund 73, as of the end of the fiscal year. As of the end of this year, we have a fund equity of $5.4 million, reflective of an interest earnings of $368,000 for the year, almost $370,000, which is the best interest year showing we've had in this fund. I do want to highlight that based on our most recent actuarial study for identifying total OPEB liabilities, I'm pleased to report to the board and to the community that our full OPEB liability is now funded. And we're going to continue to monitor and expense this trust for retiree coverage as designated. And we're going to start expensing that trust this year in consultation with DPI and our auditing partners. All right. As of June 30, we only have one debt issue, which is the same as last year for our 2019 capital maintenance referendum. This past year, we defeased about $4.275 million of funding in addition to our annual payments. After that, we have an outstanding balance of $35.8 million for the end of the year. Moving then into our budget presentation on our 26-27 data. I want to briefly discuss the way our budgets are required to be formatted and presented as part of state statutes. Wisconsin uses the Wisconsin Uniform Financial Accounting Requirements, also called WUFR, to code and format all financial data for the school district. These guidelines use a chart of accounts that format our local account code structure, and we must adhere to those guidelines in all aspects. This is required by all Wisconsin public schools. The long-form version of these accounts uses set dimensions, including fund, source, object, and function. The publication data used for the annual meeting presentation summaries and the publication supplement that was put in board docs for this evening also uses this format. Each fund in the Woofer format has specific purposes and set regulations that we must adhere to during implementation of each year's budget. Each year when we do our budget planning, our district budget is a plan of how we propose to use our resources and accomplish our educational and operational planned activities each year. Our budget represents a point in time, and we present this data to the board throughout the year as it changes. In June, this board gave preliminary approval of the 26-27 budget, but the district cannot set its final budget until October of this year. That's because there's data missing from the finalization of the state information and aid payments that we would receive. So we need things like our third Friday count in September, which will start after September gets underway here. We also need information about our total equalized property value, which will be available at the beginning of October, as well as our aid distribution and any grant awards that change before final approval. To conduct the annual meeting, we have to estimate some information of what these final values will be based on available information as of today. These estimates are reflected in our budget and identify resources or revenues and purposes and uses or expenditures. The next several slides will outline the proposed budget by fund. This information is also available in the financial supplement prepared for this meeting. At the end of these fund budgets will be a preview of our proposed tax levy by fund. Our Fund 10 budget, or Fund 10 also referred to as a general fund. Under revenues, most of our revenue sources come from local tax levy, identified here as local sources, and state aid resources identified as state sources or Source 600 on this slide. Each year for the school district of Milton, that split is approximately 40% local, 60% state. Inter-district payments on this screen, on this slide, identify what we expect to receive as part of open enrollment students coming into Milton from other school districts. State sources include our general aid payment, as well as any Wisconsin or state grants. Federal sources include, unsurprisingly, federal grants. These federal grants include such things as the ESEA grants, such as Title I, Title II, and some of our CTE grants. Okay. Total general fund revenues are set to increase about 4.9% over last year's actuals. I do want to highlight, though, that is not reflecting that the budget itself is increasing 5% over year end. About 1.2% of that is just due to open enrollment. This board has heard me mention before that the increase in the open enrollment multiplication factors as more students come in has been getting very volatile in recent years, causing sometimes a 10 to 15% swing in those numbers each year. Put more graphically, most of our resources that we do get, as I mentioned, come from state sources and general aid, the rest of which are inter-district payments, which again are the open enrollment amounts coming into the district. All other payments represent 1 or less than 1% of our entire general fund revenue. On the expenditure side, there's 3 main classifications in the function definitions for Woofer. The 100,000 function area is designated for instruction. The 200,000 areas all for all support services, including student services staff, library, transportation costs, custodial, utilities, supervision, technology, business services, and administration. The 400,000 category is all of our non-program transactions, including areas such as interfund transfers, such as the main fund transfer to 27, or the open enrollment out payments we make to other districts, and private voucher payments that are required by state law. Put graphically again, I did more of an exploded graph here to show that most of our expenses, about 2/3, are in salary and benefits. Of note is that under purchase services, while it does say 25%, a large portion of that funding also goes towards sub-costs through Kelly Education. So that gets us much closer to the 3/4 of our general fund being for salary and wages. Okay. Moving then on to our special project funds. This encompasses what we call Fund 21, our donation or student activity account areas, and Fund 27 for our special education fund. The special projects fund, again, is for donations and activities. This is used to record one-time sources of revenues and expenses for specific activities, whether it be from specific donors or through specific club activities. The Special Education Fund records most of our annual activity for student services team members and budgetary needs of the programming. This fund cannot carry a fund balance, so everywhere, anytime you see a beginning and ending fund balance, that represents the changes in Fund 21 in our donation and student activity account areas. For Fund 27, quick highlight that most of our sources here, almost 90%, is in salary and benefits, the remainder of which under purchase services encompasses, again, sub-costs and primarily transportation in this fund. Moving then on to our Fund 30 area, or debt service funds. The School District of Milton only has one debt service fund right now, that's Fund 39 for referendum approved debt. So again, I mentioned this at the beginning, but the 2019 referendum is the only debt schedule reflected here. Activity in this fund in recent years, because you'll see a rather significant change in fund balance, reflects our annual debt payments, and last year for 25-26, a $4.275 million defeasance of existing debt and down payment of debt that saved the district about $1.5 million. Our Fund 40 area, this is for capital project funds. The only fund in this category is our Fund 46, our long-term capital maintenance fund that we advise the board on each year. Fund 46 was recently established back in 2020. After a 5-year waiting period, we were able to start using this fund with intention in April of 2025, and we will continue to incorporate planning for this fund and annually in our long-term capital process. Fund 50 records all of our food service activity. In this fund, any fund balance here is restricted to food service programming and will be used over time to invest in new equipment and offset any projected revenue shortfalls as cost increase in this area. For Fund 80, this tracks all of our transactions related to community service activities. This includes programs like Milton Recreation, or MREC, our Schilberg Park, and Central Park expenses. The 25-26 budget included a planned use of fund balance, which is why the fund balance shows a decrease during 25-26 for additional field lighting of the soccer fields at Schilberg Park. For 26-27, we're beginning a phased work for additional field lighting at Schilberg for the football fields for the 26-27 and 27-28 years. Okay. Putting all of this together on one slide, which encompasses quite a bit, we have an all funds planned expenditure increase of about 2.38% over year end of 25-26. A lot of the fluctuation you see between 24-25 and present, there is a significantly increased number of one-time expenses that we've been discussing with the board each year. 2 years ago, we did a new capital lease for new student and staff devices. This past year, we had some outlay for the maintenance facility as well as the healthcare sciences at the high school and the field lighting at Schilberg Park. And for this coming year, we'll have more of the same. We'll have the remainder of the costs for the healthcare sciences, which happened after July 1st, and the maintenance facility, which will break ground, as Jeremy mentioned, next week. With that, I do want to pivot quickly to some information about our tax base. We do have 9 municipalities that make up the school district of Milton, the largest of which is the city of Janesville at approximately 35%, followed by city of Milton at 18.5%, the town of Harmony at 13.9%, and the town of Milton at 12.9%, and the rest are listed on screen for you here. Sometimes it's helpful to look at how our district is made up of those 9 municipalities, especially how big and small some of those slices may appear. Okay. Very quickly, I do want to show that under our proposed tax levy for this year, the past decade, we've been trending downward for the past 10 years, roughly, except for in the 1920 school year, of course, when we added the capital referendum, which did have an upward impact on our tax levy and our tax rate. But since then, we've had a significant decrease each year. Right now, we're projecting with our estimated equalized value change for the entire school district of the mill rate dropping to $6.25, which from what I could find is the lowest it's been in 30 years. Okay. And then finally, just a quick highlight of what our tax levies have been the last 3 years. I'm very pleased to report that our tax levy for the school district has been roughly the same for the last 3 years running. And the tax levy on screen, $21.8 million, represents only a 0.3% increase over the prior year. And I hope to maintain that going into fall with the information we have. I do hear some information that the equalized tax base will be slightly higher than currently projected, which will make the mill rate even smaller. But I'm not going to put any numbers forward at this time because I don't control those numbers. We get that from the state directly. At this point, unless there's any questions, we can move on to the budget hearing, in which we have 3 motions that we'll put on screen for discussion and possible action. And I'll put it back to you, John, if that's okay.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions for Ross at this point?
All right.
Okay. So we do have, like Ross said, we do have 3 motions that need to be addressed. The first one is in regards to the setting the tax levy for this upcoming school year. If we could get that on the board, please.
I move that the district levy a tax of $17,297,000.
Okay, we have a motion from Sarah. Do we have a second on that motion? Chris, second from Chris. Are there any questions on that motion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have item 2E, fixing the salaries of board members and authorizing expenses. Okay, we got a motion from Jen Kramer. Do I have a second? Second from Tara. Any questions on that motion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, 2F is to allow the Board of Education to establish the date and time for the 2027 annual meeting.
I'll make a motion to allow.
Sarah? Okay, we have a motion from Rick, second from Sarah Stuckey on the motion to allow the board to establish the date for next year's annual meeting. Are there any questions on that motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to section 3, adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
I got a motion from Rick, second from Tracy. Are there any questions or objections to that motion? Hearing none, motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.